Alrighty, good morning everybody. I think we are live. Welcome back to the fourth episode of the SMC Livestream. I hope you've all had a fantastic week so far. The order flow really been beautiful on the pairs that we've covered. XAUSD also played out beautifully yesterday. EU just really continuing with its internal bullish order flow. But yeah, I posted all of the markup in the Telegram channel this morning. Hein also posted his markup or his ideas in his Discord. So we will continue just to recap price today, have a look at any trade plans that follow out, what we can expect going into session today, this afternoon, and also continue through the rest of the week. At Jay Fronem, I need to lower the intro music volume a lot. Is it alright now? Are you guys, can you guys hear me clearly as well? Hey Jay, love these videos. Hey Alan, how's it going? Long time no see, brother. Everybody, just a quick mic check. I know that we had a bit of an audio issue this morning. That's why we started a couple of minutes late.
Just checking my voice as well, Jay. Testing 1 2, testing 1 2.
Also, good morning to that beautiful voice of Hein.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to our fourth stream.
All good, all good. Loud and clear. Alrighty guys, so I'll show you what I had in mind for EU this morning, just to quickly break down the higher time frames. So the daily time frame swing structure, still currently bearish, or regardless of this entire bullish move here. Slight echo. Yeah, I can also hear it on my side. I think it's from Hein's side. Hein, the echo is just a bit bad that side.
I'm trying to put this completely down. Just testing again. Just test your voice. I think mine's fine, Jay.
Better that side? I can still hear it.
Let me pick something up.
Testing 1 2. All right. Well, just in the meantime, until we fix that, we'll continue with EU. Hein will keep playing his side. I don't know why the audio is doing that, but yeah, as I was saying regarding the daily swing structure, we still are currently bearish, regardless of this overall bullish leg right now. We are currently in a bit of a daily pullback phase, which we can expect to at least reach premium areas of these supplies to then start confirming on the 4-hour to look to continue bearish to target those weak lows. Who knows? Price might not even play out like that. What could happen is price continues bullish, takes out the daily strong highs. These then become daily strong lows, new daily weak highs after the pullback forms. And then what we can expect is potentially the overall monthly order flow to continue playing out, as we have got monthly strong lows, the previous monthly break, monthly weak highs. We're now busy mitigating extreme areas of demand in the monthly swing range. So therefore, the expectation is for the weekly to start shifting bullish, to realign itself with the monthly, and we confirm the weekly once the daily internal starts shifting bullish. So there is the possibility that we can take out those daily strong highs, continue bullish, and eventually target those overall weekly strong highs to confirm the overall monthly order flow. Okay, but again, we don't need to worry about predicting that. We can react to price as it starts to form over the weeks and the months, and even going into session every single morning, just again having that clearer understanding of the intentions of the higher time frame, which will give you much more clarity when hopping down onto the lower time frames. Alrighty guys, so from the daily to the 4-hour. Alright, as I've marked out over here, the 4-hour swing and internal is just currently bullish. So as I was looking for this morning, and we'll break this down on the M15 now, I ideally wanted to look to stay pro-trend, looking to continue into deeper areas of the supply. But this is where we also have to keep in mind and manage our expectation, because the H4 pullback is due, which we can identify of potential older supplies. But the confirmation on the M15 is still bullish. Once that starts shifting bearish, it is definitely valid to start looking for those phase C shorts to ride a bit of that pullback. Alrighty, so from the 4 hour we can then go over to the M15. All right, so M15 we had from yesterday. I think we were at this point in time here. Yeah, about 10:30 in the morning. We just created this internal break to the upside, and we've really just continued with a bit of a demand chain, following through, targeting those internal weak highs. What I was looking for this morning was to really continue through with that after a bit of a pullback, especially into really the discount of this entire internal swing range, to start looking for my lower time frame entry models to continue targeting those weak highs. Okay, so if I hop onto the 1 minute, I'll show you what I was looking at this morning. We both had a Frankfurt sweep, Frankfurt session, which is the 8 o'clock candle from 7 till 8, often used as a nice point of liquidity to sweep to then continue in the direction of order flow. So yeah, first entry was the initial sweep of Frankfurt low, standard displacement fair value gap to continue long, just to really target that internal weak high. We hit some partials at the most recent fractal high, came back to break even later. Then further on this morning, which was just before I started the stream, we had a sweep again of those initial lows. We had a great pullback, didn't manage to get an entry here as I wanted to really get in these fair value gaps and here. Then we actually came back, swept these lows, which I really liked, and took immediate displacement fair value gap, which again was just BE partials. And I like the fact that it swept this low again. So what I might even try is a third entry and really just going off this volume imbalance gap over here to continue target those weak highs. Okay, so yeah, still really just sticking pro trend this morning, understanding M15 is pro trend, 4 hour is pro trend. The M15 hasn't shifted bearish yet to confirm a bit of a start of the 4 hour pullback. Our M15 swing lows still remain far down here because the internal has still remained bullish. Until those internal lows break to the downside, that will confirm the start of the overall M15 pullback, which then we can start to look for those phase C shorts, potentially into the discount of this entire swing range, to then start looking to go long. Otherwise, if the M15 breaks to the downside, in terms of swing structure, we can then expect a bit of a 4 hour pullback into at least discounts of this range, to then start looking for the M15 to realign itself with the overall 4 hour to continue targeting those weak highs. Okay, so again guys, really one thing I want you to take from is setting up that trade plan each and every single morning. Okay, so my trade plan this morning was really to continue long, targeting these weak highs with the right entry confirm. We execute regardless of emotions, thoughts, we're executing on that plan. Second entry, also, trade plan was valid, especially after the London low again was swept here, which displacement fair value gap to go long, and eventually a third entry over here. So both of these trades were BE partials, which was 0.5% risk each. So this was about 0.2% and 0.2% partials. This trade I'm risking 0.3%. So even if this trade stops out, we're still at BE for the morning, and we'll look to continue following through the trade plan for the rest of the day. And this is exactly what I want you guys to see what trading is. Trading is not a matter of taking wins, making those thousands of dollars, those 80, 90% win rates. It's a matter of executing your plans, managing the trade, whether that's BE partials, whether that's a loss, another loss, and another loss, and then a full runner, but overall coming out on top in terms of percentage and equity. Okay, which is, again, comes down to a big reason why it's nearly impossible to rely on somebody else's signals, because the one signal that you miss, their data and their results is going to be completely different to yours. Okay, but are you guys kind of happy with the breakdown of EU? What we can expect going really in for the rest of the week, potentially some trade plans today. So yeah, if price really just continues internally bearish, we'll look to potentially continue with longs off the more discount of the overall swing range before then looking to go long. Okay, in the interim, if that fractal really continues bearish, ideally, I don't want to look for shorts yet until the internal lows start breaking to the downside. Okay, because at the moment, understanding that would be phase D shorts, both counter swing and counter internal trading. Therefore, also, we're trading against demand that's in control. So there's very little risk to reward to work with when shorting this market. Okay. But any questions, guys, on EU? Any questions on the entries that I've taken this morning? Is there anything that you guys are looking at on EU that you'd like Hein or I to break down?
Oh, just backing you up there, John. EU. I'm also looking for longs on EU this morning. We haven't reached the daily supply area that I was mentioning yesterday. So I'm still looking for longs until we reach that zone. So yeah, that's just to back up what you said there on EU.
Yeah, I think I've still got that daily supply marked out from yesterday. Hence why I like the idea of longs, simply because we haven't mitigated it. So everything that's resting below becomes liquidity for this old supply zone, which again, we can anticipate the start of the swing pullbacks from these higher time frame older supplies.
Why don't you give gold a look there, please, Jared, for the mixologist?
The mixologist, that's Mono. How's it going, Mono?
Mono. What a legend.
Alrighty, yeah, so let's quickly have a look at gold, and then we can hop over to one or two potential trade plans that Hein is looking at. Okay, so gold actually continued beautifully in terms of the M15 structure. We had, as of yesterday, we were at this point in time, yeah, about over here. All right, we had a bit of an internal pullback to cater for more of the overall M15 swing pullback. We then mitigated the POIs that we had out in stream yesterday at the extreme of the M15. And again, also on the 1 minute, I was just looking for a displacement fair value gap entry after this Asian sweep into the higher time frame POI, which I really like the fact that we had that initial mitigation, reaction, and then the sweep of that low. This being accumulation, manipulation, distribution confirm. Okay, I look to take the 50% of this displacement and fair value gap here. I really couldn't find any gaps in this area of pricing, really messy wicks. And yeah, just missed buy limit of about 0.2 pips. I took the 50% of this FEG. But yeah, the idea, the bias, the overall understanding of the higher time frame was there to continue targeting these M15 weak highs. And again, another thing that I want you to see what trading is. This is going to happen. Missed entries that run beautifully to full TP, which this would have been a 19 risk to reward. But it's beautiful. It's something that you need to get used to. It's something that I am 100% happy with accepting, because this is exactly what trading is. Trade plan missed out, we leave it, we move on to the next trade plan. No emotions involved, nothing attached to it. We'll wait for price to play out, because remember, the markets are going to be here for hundreds of years to come. There's going to be hundreds of years worth of opportunities to come in these markets. So there is no reason to feel FOMO if a limit doesn't get tapped in. There's no reason to let your emotions get involved. Once you start to really see the overall perspective of how long this industry is going to be here, it will really, really help in terms of your psychology, being patient in terms of waiting for your trade plan to play out and execute from there. Okay, so what we could potentially see from gold, we haven't had that break of structure on the M15 yet. We've really just had a sweep of the weak high. Potentially a bit of an internal pullback, maybe to demand here or here, to then continue targeting those weak highs. Okay. Also understanding this is in alignment with the overall daily structure, being daily weak highs and weekly weak highs. Okay, this 4 hour only shifting bearish, just catering for a bit of a daily pullback. Okay, so is everybody happy with XAUSD? The breakdown of XAU? Any questions on EU before we move forward, guys? Hein, is there any other one or two pairs that you would like to have a look at?
Let's have a look at GU.
Okay.
Just swap over to my screen.
Let me switch to Hein's screen there. Over to you, Hein.
Yeah, just doing a top-down analysis like we do every morning when we come into the charts. Just running through our daily market structure quickly. We have a look here. We had our daily breaks of structure to the upside, breaking this low to the downside, change the character to the downside. We still have not had another break of structure to the downside. You can see this is a very big extension move. We have started the pullback, so now we are looking for buys into any potential POIs. So the only POI that I can see on the daily so far is this one over here. Where'd my pen go? This one over here. So I would be looking for longs up until this point to then look for reversal trades to the downside to continue this bearish order flow. Okay. Going down to the 4-hour. As we can see, we are bullish in the 4-hour as well. Hence these two breaks of structure to the upside. So now we are looking just for the market to continue that into our daily supply area, excuse me. Right, so going down to the 15-minute, keeping in mind we are bullish on the 4-hour and looking for buys up until that daily supply area on the daily. We then have our 15-minute, which is also bullish. We have our breaks structure to the upside over here. This was our most recent break of structure. We left this nice order block, and we have already formed some liquidity, and we have a nice order block, unmitigated, inefficient push, whatever you want to call it, which we will potentially be looking for buyers off of. So this is a potential trade that I'm looking at for today. And there's also not a lot of news for the USD or JBP. So this would be a very good setup for today. Also, Jay, sorry, I just want to quickly go over to gold. The gold trade that I mentioned yesterday, we did end up taking, and we did lose that on the -1% on that trade. I only realized after is that we were not coming off of a 4-hour POI, and that's actually what invalidated my trade, which I did not actually realize. So that was just me indirectly breaking my rules. So yeah, that's just to keep following your rules, because it can bite you.
Yeah, 100%. And as long as it's important that you learn from each and every trade that you take, whether it's a loss or a win. So usually what I do is the best way, and this is actually a strategy I've used for years now, to learn from myself in this industry, is every week or so, usually about every 2 weeks, what I'll do is I will leave all of the live trades that I took on TradingView, all of the trade plans that I executed, and I will backtest that previous 2 weeks, and I will compare my live results to my backtested results, and that way I can see trade plans that I missed, potential mistakes that I made, and where I can improve on. And that's ultimately where, again, you can never stop learning in this industry, because as you trade more and more and you recap that same data within the next couple of months or the next couple of weeks, there's always so much more than what you can learn from yourself. And you'll see the 3 entries that I've taken on EU this morning. We had +4, +2, -1. I'm going to leave this here because at the end of November, I'm going to rebacktest the entire of November. So I will compare my FX replay results to my results on TradingView, and ultimately discover and learn plans that I missed, plans that I executed correctly, and ultimately continue to refine and improve my edge in price. Okay, but yeah, really clean setup on GU. I have something very similar on GU. I'll quickly just shift over back to my screen here. There we go. You guys should be able to see my screen. Okay. So GBP USD also very similar to EU at the moment. Daily time frame, we've had our daily swing breaks, daily pullback started. After that 4-hour shift to the upside, 4-hour pullback into demand to really continue with a bit of a 4-hour leg. If I'm correct, it's about building the confidence in your edge, 100%. And that's all, again, it comes down to backtesting, collecting data, continuously working on the charts. And slowly but surely, you will start to understand yourself more as a trader and ultimately build your edge in the market. Can you please break down NAS and USD? Also GBP AUD, can gold to head to 2060 areas? Okay, so firstly, let me quickly just cover GU. Then Hein and I can break down NAS and USD. And then GBP AUD. Regarding can gold to head to 2060, well, as weekly structure and as we discussed really yesterday, we have weekly strong lows, weekly weak highs. Here we've had that weekly pullback really cater from April 23rd all the way to the beginning of October. We've now shifted bullish internally, indicating that there's good probability that the weekly order flow is going to follow through. So what I would like to see is gold target those weak highs at record highs at 2080. Jay, I'm hearing an echo. Hein, is there any way you can fix the echo on your side?
I've been trying. Jay, let me just quickly try one more thing over here.
No stress, brother. Okay, so we'll cover quickly GU. Oh, that's even worse. Is that better? That sounds a bit better. Okay, so yeah, we'll quickly cover GBP USD. I think Hein needs earphones. Yeah. So he's only got AirPods at home, which you can't connect to your PC, but I think you'll get a set for the next couple of streams. But yeah, going forward with the echoes back.
Yeah, so it's definitely the mic. Just let me quickly dabble a bit with this mic.
Why is everything duplicated? There we go. Okay, so continuing with GBP USD on the 4-hour time frame, 4-hour swing structure, bullish. Internal is also bullish. Echoes back on, and it's louder than before.
I'm gonna mute myself, Jay. I'm gonna mute myself, and then when I speak, I'll just put it back. That should be good.
Okay, perfect.
Not the video.
Ready? All good? I can still hear the echo. No, we're good now. All right. So eventually, continuing with, GU on the 4-hour swing structure is currently bullish, internal also bullish, understanding that all of this is just really catering for a bit of a daily pullback phase. All right, previous daily break, weak lows, or the strong lows targeted, the entire daily swing structure now shifts bearish. 4-hour breaks to the upside, confirming the start of the daily pullback. 4-hour pullback into the extreme of this range, internal shifts to the upside, confirming that the 4-hour is going to follow through and continue targeting those weak highs. 4-hour pullback into the discount, into demand areas to continue targeting those weak highs. 4-hour pullback, continuing to target those weak highs after the internal shift to the upside, internal pullback to then continue through bullish. Okay, so if we have a look at the M15 time frame, already we had our 4-hour pullback after the internal structure started shifting to the downside. We then had a internal shift to the upside, internal pullback into demand with a bit of a liquidity sweep to then continue targeting those internal weak highs. And we've been following through bullish since. After this internal break to the downside here, that signaled this as M15 weak highs. So we had a valid M15 break of structure to the upside over here. M15 bars. Okay, we then had that candle body closure right here. We printed our internal break to the downside, strong low that took out the previous week high, broke structure to the downside, signaling the start of the overall M15 pullback. Okay, so that makes this a weak high. We then shifted internally bullish to mitigate demand to target those weak highs. Weak highs targeted, new strong low, and we've been bullish on the internal since. So until price takes out those internal strong lows, this will become the official weak high. In the interim, this is not a official pullback yet, so we would like to see candle body closures above these internal lows to confirm the start of the pullback, because then if price breaks that internal low, targets that weak high, this will be the new strong low, new weak high, new structural range. Okay, so what I would like to see really in GBP USD is just continuing pro trend, potential bit of an M15 pullback into S&D areas and institutional levels here to start looking for longs to target those M15 weak highs. Okay, in order for me to look for shorts, I would really have to see a significant M15 internal break to the downside. So at least this internal low to break, potentially then looking for shorts. Even then, so after this internal break, we'll still be in the extreme of the overall M15 swing range. So ideally, these M15 swing stronger lows will need to break to the downside to start looking for a bit of an overall 4-hour pullback, which again, we can anticipate off the older areas of supply. Okay, so yeah, if I had to look for a trade plan going into session this morning, we have a valid S&D area over here as well in the Asian sessions. If we could see a sweep of these lows with our 1-minute model, I'd like to continue long to target those weak highs. Okay, so yeah, GU also been quite clean this week. Really nice bullish order flow, very similar to EU. Are you guys happy with the breakdown on GU? Then I'll hand over to Hein to cover NASDAQ, and then I'll cover US 30 after NASDAQ, and then we can also have a look at GBP AUD. Okay, so I'm just going through the pairs that have been posted in chat here. So we'll do it in that order. It's good to see the losses as well, not just blues. Yeah, and again, as I explained now to the viewers here on stream, it's exactly what I want you to see what trading is. It's a combination of losses, taking some more losses, taking full runners, BE partials, but overall coming out on top in terms of percentage gain. Okay, so one of my mentors that mentored me a couple of years back, he has about a 15% win rate. But he generates consistently on a monthly basis anywhere between 5 to 30% returns on his account. But he loses 80% of his trades. That's just how great his risk management and risk to reward is. Again, that's exactly what trading is. Okay, but let me hand back over to Hein for... That was NASDAQ. You happy to do NASDAQ, Hein?
Jay, if I can just ask you to do US 30 quickly. I'm just quickly sending a few things out on my mentorship group.
Sure thing. I'll move over to US 30. Alrighty. So US 30 on the daily time frame, we actually covered this in stream. I think it was yesterday morning. We had our weekly order flow. Weekly strong lows, previous break of structure, weekly pullback started after the daily shifted bearish, confirming the start of a bit of a daily pullback. All right, mitigation into the discount of this entire swing range. Also further mitigation into the overall weekly demand, especially after this liquidity sweep, to then shift bullish with that daily break to the upside, to then confirm the overall continuation of the weekly order flow. So I do see US 30 creating highs at 3.5 and about 357.20, and even potentially, if we have a look at the monthly, record highs at 36, even potentially 37,000. Okay, previous monthly break, monthly pullback after internal shifts bearish, continuing into the discount of this range, and monthly S&D to then continue targeting those weak highs. Okay, weak highs, strong lows. We've mitigated the extreme of this entire range, so we could even potentially see really long term, even potentially into next year, if Donald Trump wins elections, for US 30 to create record highs. Okay, so back down to the daily, which is our weekly internal. We've had our daily really internally and swing bearish from the beginning of July this year. Understanding we shifted bearish after that weekly break to the upside because we were due for that weekly pullback phase. All right, mitigation into the weekly demand. Daily shifts bullish, which then confirms weekly order flow is potentially going to follow through. So ideally, what I would like to see already, or understanding the higher timeframes on US 30, longs immediately will make a lot more sense looking on the lower timeframes when it realigns itself with the higher time frame, understanding that taking any shorts on this market is going to be swing counter trend. Okay. However, that doesn't mean shorts are not valid, because remember, price is not just going to have that pullback and move sharply straight to the weak highs. It's going to follow through in the terms of structural highs and S&D. So it is valid to look for shorts of these pullback phases, which understanding inside of MM Funded would be our phase C shorts. Okay, so from the daily, we can hop into the 4-hour. Previous 4-hour strong lows, 4-hour break of structure. 4-hour pullback has not started because we need to see the M15 shift bearish, confirming the start of the 4-hour pullback, which again is 100% valid to start looking for shorts, even though it's completely against the higher time frame trend and order flow, and it's counter trend. It comes down to where I explain to you that price is not just going to move straight up to this week highs. It'll move in the form of structure, and it's valid to look to ride these pullbacks. Okay, so from the 4-hour to the M15, yesterday on stream, we were at this area over here. Okay, we just had that M15 pullback after the M15 break. We created internal shifts to the upside. That internal pullback into areas of demand, which I think we marked out over here on stream. Mitigation into that internal demand with the resting double bottom liquidity to sweep, which valid again also after the Asian sweep into this demand to go along and continue targeting those weak highs. Okay, so if we had to update this, we've now had our new M15 break, updated M15, strong lows, lowest point after the pullback that created the next break of structure. Okay, break, pullback, break of structure. We look for the lowest point after this pullback that created the next break of structure, and that rule-based becomes our strong low. Okay, I'm happy to mark this out as our M15 week high, simply because we have had this internal break to the downside, confirming the start of a bit of a 4-hour M15 pullback. Okay, so going into session today, what I would potentially like to see, we have valid areas of supply here that has created these internal breaks, resting liquidity. If we do get a bit of a pullback potential, 1-minute entry model to ride some of the M15 pullback. Otherwise, if we want to stick pro trend, we have valid areas of institutional level here, which can also be refined down to this candle that's created the inefficient push, break of structure. Anything that forms below here is resting liquidity. Ideally, what we'd like to see is initial reaction, sweep of that low, which then we can confirm to go long, which again is accumulation, manipulation, distribution. Okay. And then we also have our extreme M15 demand fractal ranges down here, which we can just mark out for now. We don't have to worry about that yet. We can react to price when we get to that level. Okay, so everybody happy with US30? All the way from top down to the M15, what we can expect for the next couple of years, all the way down to what we can even expect going into session today. Got a meeting in the next few minutes. Cheers, guys. Cheers, Jason. Hope you got some good value from the stream. All the best with the meeting. Okay. Quick confirm on US30, guys. You're happy with the markup? Any questions on that? And I really want you guys to ask as many questions as possible, as this is ultimately where I want you guys to learn as much as possible. That's why we're here streaming, is for you to ask questions, to get help on potential mistakes that you're making, even the things that you're doing right, so that we can guide you on that. Okay, I'm happy to hand over to Hein to have a look at NAS 100. Yep, all good. 100%, guys. Okay, let me quickly shift to Hein's screen. Transition over to you, Hein.
Okay, cool. As you guys see, I don't really trade NAS, so let's quickly start it from the daily and start a whole new chart markup here. Right off the bat, let's quickly mark out our daily break structure. As we can see, we have our daily break structure over here. I'm going to mark all these out for you guys now. Let me just quickly draw all the lines. We can see here that we did have a break of change of character to the downside over there, small close and yeah, so small break and close below. Another break of structure to the downside over here. Actually, we did not close there. We closed it about there. That's our break of structure to the downside, meaning this would be our new high over here, which we did end up breaking and closing above. So it would be another change of character. Okay, let me just quickly take all this away. Right, so this would be our recent change of character, meaning we are now bullish on the daily. So let me just quickly mark that out for you. daily change of character. And just to make everything simple, let me just quickly mark all of these out as well. Daily break of structure. This would be our daily change of character and our another daily break of structure. There we go. Right, so we set our change of character on the daily, meaning we are expecting the market to start its pullback now after breaking this high. So what do we expect now? We expect the market to come down into a POI and then continue bullish. So we have not started our pullback yet. So at this point in time, we are still bullish on the lower time frames as well. So what we would then expect is the market to turn around at some point and then target any one of these POIs over here, preferably in the 50% of this range, and maybe down here as well. That could even work as well. So this would be our daily strong low. Daily strong low. Right, so heading down to the 4-hour now. We can see that we are, of course, bullish as well, which just makes sense because of this long extension move that we had. So this would be our most recent break of structure over here. Right, and then this would be our 4-hour strong low. Right, so this area over here would be our 4-hour range, which we could then potentially look for buys off of. So two ideas that we can start to think about here. Either we come down for a pullback into a POI over here and then continue to the upside like that, or what we could potentially see is a break of these lows, confirming the pullback starting on the daily time frame to then continue to the downside into the daily POIs, right? So that's the two ideas I have for now. Going down to the 15-minute time frame, we would be bullish as well, I think. Yeah, so you can see we had this massive extension move with no real market structure over here. This would just be an extension move in my opinion. On the lower time frames, it could be a bullish order flow. So what I would be looking for now is the market to, in a sense, almost make another break of structure to the upside, confirming that it's going to go up, or come down and then breaking those 4-hour lows that we spoke about, and then continuing to the downside where we could potentially look for sells, potentially look for sells into these daily demand areas. So that would be my plan for NAS. I hope that made sense.
Yeah, I think NAS is also really clean. And again, if you want to get more context on the daily, you can hop onto the weekly. I think I still actually have my markup here from a stream a while back with MM Funded. I've got something very similar on NAS as well. I'll quickly shift over to my screen just to show you guys quickly, then we can hop onto GBP AUD. Okay, so yeah, previously on NAS we had our weekly breaks of structures to the upside, weekly strong lows, weekly weak highs after the daily started shifting bearish. Okay, so although NAS was bearish from really July all the way to end of October, understanding we just had a bit of a weekly pullback phase, which now we've targeted those weekly weak highs. So if this weekly candle closes in the next 3 days, we'll have new strong lows after a bit of a pullback, new weak highs, and a new weekly structural range to work within. Okay, we can even have a look at the monthly. All right, previous monthly break, monthly strong lows, monthly pullback, which we had a liquidity sweep of. We then shifted internally bullish, which was the weekly confirm, to potentially even continue to create record highs at 16,872. Okay, so yeah, I definitely think by next year, or going into the new year at least, we have good opportunity for both US30 and NASDAQ to be creating record highs. But remember, as Hein mentioned, there's nothing wrong with looking to trade those pullback shorts, because price is not just going to go there in one leg. It will form in the form of structure. So from the daily, we can hop all the way to the 4-hour. I think a lot of this is just overlapping over the time frames. Quickly actually remove these drawings. Okay, previous 4-hour break, 4-hour strong highs. So we definitely are due for a bit of a 4-hour pullback. However, the M15 is most likely still bullish. M15 break, M15 weak highs. potentially for a bit of a pullback today to then continue pro trade. So immediately, just looking at the high time frames, I'd like to stay on the long side of the market, but also we have to keep in mind that the 4-hour pullback can happen at any time. Okay, but are you guys happy with the breakdown of NASDAQ that Hein covered for you guys? I think NAS and USDT also been really clean the last couple of weeks in terms of bullish order flow. And yeah, one thing I want you to take note is once you start to really learn the concepts that we're teaching you here on stream, you automatically start to naturally shift towards the right side of the market. Okay, so instead of looking now for shorts to anticipate the end of this bullish run to catch a bit of the dip, ideally, you want to stay pro-trend with it. And all you need to do is react to what price is printing for you rather than try and predict when this pullback is going to happen. Okay? If the M15 shifts bearish with a break of structure to the downside, new strong highs, new weak lows, we can then start to anticipate our trade plan, look to execute our trade plan because we've been given the confirmation that the 4-hour pullback is now potentially going to start. Okay, so instead of predicting, rather let price play out and react from there once that plays out. Okay. Once you found consistency, what advice do you have to do to keep that consistency and not fall into some kind of traps? I think what I said earlier of, firstly, continue to make sure that you execute on your trade plan. If you found your consistency, whatever you're doing is working for you, keep backtesting that. After every month or two, backtest all of the data that you traded live and ultimately compare those results, and you will learn still potential mistakes that you're making, trade plans that you're missing, and you will ultimately still form your edge on that. It's important to keep up to date with your system, keep collecting data on it. Just because you found something consistent, it by no means you must now sit in front of the chart and think to yourself that, okay, I found my system, I can now relax. It's so important to still keep practicing, keep backtesting your system, backtest all of the live trades that you've taken, compare those results, and ultimately keep managing at refining that edge in that system that you have found consistency for you. Okay, but everybody happy with NAS? At Shark, I hope that answers your question clearly. Okay, then there was one more pair request. Happy with USDT, happy with NAS. GBP AUD. Hein, would you like to cover GBP AUD?
Yeah, sure, no problem, Jay. Sorry, I just have to unmute myself every time. Yeah.
That's cool. Let me switch over to your screen here. Over to you.
All right. Quickly start off on the daily here. See what we have. So yeah, I've got some old markings when I still actually traded this pair. So let me just quickly remove all these drawings. Okay, right. So starting off on the daily, just marking out our market structure again. We have our daily break structure. Make that capitals for you guys. Daily break of structure to the upside. Okay, right. So this is an interesting one for me actually. So after we had this break of structure, we have not broken this high or this low yet. So that means that this is our strong low, our daily strong low, and this would be our daily weak high, right? So all of this is internal structure on the daily. As you can see, this after this break of structure over here, we have not broken this high yet, or we have not broken this low yet, meaning this would be our daily range. Right, so keeping that in mind, let's just quickly mark out this for you guys. Daily strong low, daily strong low, and then this would be our daily weak high. Right, popping down to the 4-hour time frame. Let's just see what's happening over here. So I'm actually going to start back in time just so that we can get the right narrative over here. Right, so break of structure to the downside over here, creating our new lower high, breaking that lower high, having a change of character to the upside, right? Then after that change of character, we had another break of structure to the upside over here. I will mark all of these out for you guys just to make things a bit quicker and simpler. I'm just going to mark them out with lines, so just follow. Right, so break of structure to the upside, and then over here we had another break of structure to the upside, as we can see by that small break above in closure. Excuse me. Okay, right. After that break of structure, we had our new low formed, having our change of character to the downside. After the change of character, we had another break of structure to the downside, meaning this would be our new high. Breaking this high over here, closing above it, meaning our new range would be our new 4-hour strong low and our 4-hour weak high. So let me just quickly mark out. I'm not going to mark out everything now. This would be our 4-hour week high. I need to go back to typing school, Jay. 4-hour strong low. All right, so now that we have our 4-hour range, let me just quickly mark this out just to make it a bit simpler for you guys. This would be our 4-hour change of character and 4-hour break of structure. That's how far back I'm going to go. 4-hour break of structure. Right, so now that we've got that, what do we expect now? Because we just had our 4-hour break of structure to the downside and our change of character, and we have started our pullback, we are now expecting market to start forming bullish order flow. Coming back to the daily time frame, we are bullish. So remember, keep that in mind. We are bullish. So we do expect the market to turn bullish on the lower time frames as well, to then target the weak highs and then continue its bullish order flow. So just keep in mind, we are bullish on the daily as well. So now on the 4-hour that we have turned bullish, we could potentially see some buying opportunities or 4-hour POIs. So marking out some quick 4-hour POIs. The only one that I could actually see was over here, but that's no stress. What we could then potentially look at is reversal patterns on the lower time frame. So keeping in mind, we can actually mark out this whole area over here. We have not closed below this area, so this area could still be valid. Going down to the lower time frames, we can see that we are, I think, bearish at the moment. At a break of structure, the downside over here, this would be our 15-minute break of structure. Right, then I would call this an internal break of structure, the downside over here.
Hi Jay, when will you take partials and set trade to BE, and what qualifies as a pullback? Okay, so the first question to that is, I like to take partials at nothing less than 3 or 4 risk to reward. I see Heinz screen's gone off. I think there's good potential that he's had load shedding, but that's okay. I'll continue the stream with you guys. Hi Jay, when will you take partials and set trade to BE? So yeah, I like to take partials and BE at nothing less than 3 risk to reward, then let the rest run. Because remember, when you're taking partials, it's going to affect your overall risk to reward. So for example, if you're running, let's say, a 3 risk to reward, okay, and you're taking 50% partials at 1 to 1.5, this entire trade only becomes 1 to 1.5 risk to reward. Because you take off 50%, okay, that means you're making now less on the total that you've risked. Therefore, that's why when you take partials, you still need to understand that it's going to affect your risk to reward, because now you're taking off less on the amount that you've risked in terms of profits. Okay, so what qualifies as a pullback? What I like to do is a mechanical rule for a 4-hour pullback. We identify the start of a pullback after the M15 swing shift breaks to the downside. Okay, so we've had that 4-hour break here. The M15 has still been bullish really throughout until the M15 takes out that M15 swing strong low. That will confirm this is a 4-hour weak high and the potential start of the 4-hour pullback. And same thing with the M15. Okay, M15 time frame. We've had our M15 break. What we look for is our internal structure, which is all of the structure that happens in between the M15 swing ranges. Okay, so M15 strong low, well, internal strong low after the break. If price takes out that strong low with a candle body closure, this then becomes our valid M15 weak high, indicating the start of the M15 pullback. Okay, so that's just a more rule-based way of approaching your identifying your pullbacks. Okay, and then if we take a look at EU, what again, I'm still looking for longs on this market. I like the fact we've now continued to really just sweep all of this liquidity that we've been building up for potentially these POIs. Okay, I look for the initial reaction, sweep of that low, and I was really just looking for the first displacement fair value gap, really messy price action, nothing really interesting over here. Then we eventually actually printed that market structure shift with the gap. So I'm going to try this entry this morning, see how that runs. And then yeah, if this doesn't follow through, I'll let price play out a bit. Ideally, maybe if we come into New York session, into these deeper areas of demand, or otherwise we play out through here, create new demand, and start to anticipate the start of that 4-hour pullback off the higher time frame supplies. Okay. Okay, so are you happy with the what qualifies as a pullback, and also understanding in my rules in terms of when I take partials and set trade to BE? I just got a WhatsApp from Hein. His puppy chewed his LAN cable. That's hilarious. So he lost internet connection because his puppy chowed his LAN cable. How can we enter off the Asian low? Okay, so what I like to use for my Asian liquidity model is, and that's the only thing why I don't like potentially this entry too much just yet. I'm trying it just with lower risk. It's simply because we haven't swept the Asian lows. But to explain how I approach the Asian liquidity model, okay, we need to have, well, we've got our Asian lows, Asian highs. Ideally is any institutional level, such as an S&D zone here, or this entire 4-hour zone that holds the Asian liquidity is very valuable in terms of in alignment with your structure story to look for the Asian sweep for your 1-minute entry model to continue long. Okay, so understanding your structure story, would it be high probability to take the sweep of these highs and then potentially shorts as compared to a sweep of the lows to continue long to target the weak highs? Well, in this scenario, this could potentially cater for a bit of a slight M15 pullback, but understanding this is counter trend, theoretically, it's much lower probability than looking to keep on the right side of what structure's printing for you in the market. Okay, so that is where, again, I utilize ICT's concepts, but in alignment with my 3 structure types methodology, which again, the full course methodology on that is inside of the Discord. And once you start to pair that up, you will find that you often find yourself far more on the right side of the market when utilizing other concepts such as maybe ICT's entry confirms, whether you're a resistance trader, support resistance trend lines, whatever it may be. 3 structure types is ultimately the foundation of the market, which will foundation any other strategies that you want to apply within, first and foremost, understanding the trend and the context of price. Okay. So is everybody happy with the breakdown on GBP AUD that Hein gave before his puppy chewed his LAN cable? At Louis, do you understand how I approach the Asian low? Any questions on, well, firstly, the Asian liquidity model? Any general questions on how we approach three structure types here at Funded? How many of you guys here are coming from a retail trading background, more from the basics such as candle patterns, double tops, double bottoms, support resistance, EMAs, key levels, and how many of you guys here have a bit of experience in terms of the SMC background, such as supply, demand, structure, institutional levels, etc.? Yeah, I ask because I'm just keen to really get to know you guys, the style of trader that you guys are, and ultimately get closer to you guys here on stream and learn a little bit about your trading style. So ultimately, I can help and guide you to potentially improving that system and finding your edge. I came from retail, but not after Funded. I'm SMC all the way, going into my 4th year now. The trading journey is really amazing and diverse. It is. It's a beautiful journey. And again, that's where something that really helped me in terms of breaking through with trading was actually learning to enjoy the process far more than the reward. And it's quite contradicting. I know people trade to make money, but if you're going to approach trading just to make money, you're not going to make money because you're going to burn yourself out. And it's quite a catch 2022 situation because, well, we trade to make money. But once you get into that mindset of trading to enjoy the process and really just overall understand price, the reward will naturally start to follow much more smoother. Jay, so the reason you go from the daily to the H4 to the M15 is that the power of 30. Yeah, so that's just the time frames that complement each other the best. The 15-minute complements and confirms the 4-hour, vice versa with the daily and the 4-hour. So that's why I've put it into 3 structure types and a more mechanical way of approaching the time frames like that. Okay, Jay, can you please give me your honest opinion? Do you think someone can make it in trading with your free content and no mentor? There is tons of valuable content on my YouTube channel, and especially with these streams, there is no doubt in my mind that there's not enough information on my channel, or that there's more than enough information on my channel to learn how to slowly but surely backtest, apply these concepts, and find your own edge, and ultimately become your own independent trader. Started this year and started with retail patterns, found SMC last month. You're definitely heading now towards the right side of understanding price. I'm thinking of waiting for an Asian sweep in the M15 demand. Yeah, that's what I would like to see as well. So yeah, all of the longs that I really took inside of Asian session was really just 0.2, 0.3% risk. So we had +4, +2, -1, -1. So we're still up. We're close to break even for the morning. My next trade plan will be really just to now look for the Asian liquidity model. Okay, because for me, any of this really just becomes more liquidity to sweep those Asian lows into the extreme of the entire internal range to then potentially continue long. Okay. It's just at the moment, EU is in a bit of a weird place simply because the M15 is beautifully bullish, but the more the internal continues to break to the upside, the lower probability phase A longs become, because the expectation and the anticipation is to start that due pullback by confirming the M15 at this internal strong low, shifting bearish. Okay, so taking longs is pro-trend, but it's against your expectation. But taking shorts is counter-trend, and looking for short confirms, well, would only be counter trend as of now, but if the M15 confirms itself, then those phase C shorts will definitely be better probability than looking for shorts as is now. Okay. But I'm actually glad you guys got to see a bit of some live trades taking place here, because ultimately this is what I want you to see what trading is. It's a combination of +4s, partials, +2s, -1, maybe another -1, then a +5, then maybe another -1, then a full runner +10, but everything at the end of the day coming out overall maybe +8% and overall profitable. And that's exactly what trading is. It's understanding the percentage and equity game behind the mathematics of your entries. Okay. And also keep in mind, the tighter your risk to reward, naturally the lower your win rate's going to be. The less your risk to reward, the higher your win rate is going to be. And that's one thing I actually tell a lot of traders busy entering this industry, especially funded, is in the interim, just while you're grasping the concepts of what I teach here, is focus on just trading, for example, mechanical 2Rs, where we're looking for a mechanical 2 risk to reward, mechanical 3Rs, just to slowly but surely get a more rule-based understanding of risk to reward and your percentage returns. And once you start to get more experience with that, you can really start to refine and start going for those tight long runners. So you'll see a couple of videos, I think it was a while back on my YouTube channel, what I even used to do on the 1 minute. For example, if we had over here, this mitigation into this displacement fair value gap after the liquidity sweep, I would actually go all the way onto the 5 second, even the 1 second, and I would look for, okay, we've now entered that 1 minute displacement gap over here. I would like to see initial mitigation, sweep, then displacement, fair value gap to continue with the entry. So you can even confirm the 1 minute with 1 second and 5 second entries. Then you can really start to get tight risk to reward trades targeting those M15 week highs. So already on the 1 minute time frame, from a 6 risk to reward, refining down to the 5 second, we've now tightened that to a 37R. And that's ultimately how you tighten your risk to reward, is by refining on the time frames. As remember, the markets are fractal. What occurs on the daily occurs on the 1 second. Structure will form. Break, pullback, break, pullback, break of structure to the upside, pullback, targeting those weak highs. Pullback until we break, pullback. Structure occurs like this on every single time frame. And that is why we call the markets fractal. And that is the reasoning behind the design of 3 structure types that I teach inside of Funded, is because the markets are fractal. We can hop onto lower time frames and refine from there. You'll probably even find if I hop into this on the 1 second, we'll have smaller structure that occurs inside of that 5 second. Lower lows, higher lows, lower lows, to confirm itself to go long. Okay, so even here in this 5 second gap, we have that 1 second shift, 1 second pullback, which then allows you to refine even tighter with a 0.009 stop loss to then continue targeting your targets. So now from the 1 minute where we had a 6R, to the 5 second where we had a 15R or 30R, to the 1 second where now you're refining to really tight stop losses below the 1 second lows up to 30, 40R, just really targeting the internal weak highs. Okay, so yeah, hopefully you guys will, just from that real breakdown, gives you a good understanding of how the markets are fractal, structure applies on all time frames, every single day, week, and year that price takes place. Do you trade US30? No, I don't. My 3 main pairs is Euro USD, GBP USD, and XAU USD. Okay. Do you guys have any questions on the breakdown that I've just covered of the seconds chart, understanding how price is fractal, how price occurs on, and structure occurs on every single time frame? Okay, so another good example on the 4 executions that I took this morning, why it's so difficult to follow signals is because if you took, for example, this third trade here and the second one here, you would have been -2 on your account. Whereas because you missed the first 2 that I took, which was +4, +2, overall I'm still +4 up on these 4 entries, +4 risk to reward. I'm up while your percentage is down. And that's again comes down to where following signals and remaining profitable with signals long term becomes very difficult, because as soon as you miss 1 or 2 entries, that gap in the data becomes completely different on both sides. Okay, and that's why I don't mind executing on stream for you guys, but I don't want you to copy these trades just for the sake of trying to get quick profits out of the markets. I want you to see the consistency in applying a trade plan, understanding where price is currently lying in terms of the higher time frame context to the lower time frame, and formulating a trade plan every single trade and executing on that. And ultimately, these streams are here to rather help you become independent at this yourself, to become your own consistent and profitable trader. Alrighty guys, so XAUSD swing range still remains the same, simply because we didn't have that candle break of structure to the upside. So this still remains as the weak high, strong lows. If this did candle body close, this would have been your new strong low, lowest point after the pullback, and this would have been your weak high after that internal shift. What is a better way to keep track of your RR, monthly or over a longer period? What do you mean keep track of your risk to reward? Yeah, so if you're approaching risk to reward in a more mechanical way and you only trade 3 risk to reward like Hein does, he strictly trades 3 risk to reward. If you're like me, where the risk to reward is going to differ because, well, each and every day your structural points are going to be different. So for example, if I'm only targeting internal highs, this would be a 9R. If I'm targeting the swing week highs, that would be a 19R. If then future potential trade plan on gold, we get a bit of a pullback into demand, and these internal highs are now only 4 risk to reward. My risk to reward is different every time. It's not fixed and it's not mechanical, simply because the market conditions and the structural points are going to be different every time. How to calculate lot sizes for risk to work out your win rate? Yeah, so I recommend backtest a year of data, and then all you do is divide your wins by losses, and you can work out your percentage win rate from there. How do you calculate lot sizes for risk? What I use is a trade manager for MT4. So when I place my limits on TradingView, take note of how I always use the 8-cap feed, because my prop firms are 8-cap, so the pricing is exactly the same. And for example, if price taps me in, what I'll do is on my trade manager, I will enter my stop of 1.30 and my TP of 24.67, and I'll enter my risk percentage. So on the trade manager tool, there's a little spot where you can open up the risk percentage. You enter 1% and it automatically calculates the lot size for you. I think if you go to Google and you can go to Trade Manager MT4 or MT5, I use MT4. There's one on MQL5. I'll show you now. So yeah, it looks something similar to this, where you can enter your stop loss size, your TP, and you enter your risk percentage. And then it automatically calculates your lot size for you, and you can click buy and sell, and it will execute with that stop loss, that TP, and the correct risk management. And this is a big reason why I only trade on desktop and no longer on my phone. It's because it's really gets impossible, especially when you're trading on the lower time frames, to calculate manually on your phone, manually modify the stop loss values when you're setting BE or securing partials. It's just the trade manager tool on MT4 allows you to just drag your stop loss to BE, which is really handy. Do you trade based on Frankfurt session, open high or low? I don't trade based on it. I look at it as confluence. So what I like to see, for example, is especially, for example, if we're in a bit of an M15 pullback, okay, and Frankfurt session is formed, and we sweep Frankfurt or Asian session into a higher time frame POI to then start looking for my entry model on the 1 minute after that liquidity sweep, which is where my ICT concepts come into play, but that must happen inside of higher time frame POIs to target those relative weak highs and in line with your structure story. Okay, so does that kind of answer the question on that? Is I look at Frankfurt as liquidity for higher time frame POIs to look for my entries in line with the structural story of price. I'm going to bounce, have load shedding soon. Cheers, gents. Cheers at CJ Trades. Thanks for joining the stream. I hope you got some good value. We'll see you in the next one. Yeah, same. Cheers, Carlos. Thanks for joining the stream. XAUSD is on the premium side of the H4, so we shouldn't look for sales. Okay, so if we have a look at XAU on the H4, we currently have had our previous 4-hour break to the downside. Okay, so these are 4-hour strong highs, these are 4-hour weak lows. The expectation is to continue targeting these weak lows, but we need to keep in mind the only reason the 4-hour is bearish is because it's confirmed a bit of a start of the daily pullback. So XAUSD at the moment can really do one of two things. The M15 can continue bullish to take out the strong high, continuing daily pro trend, because remember, our weekly highs are also weak. Or the M15 can shift bearish, which will be our internal shift on the 4-hour to potentially then confirm we're going to target the 4-hour week lows, catering for more of a daily pullback, potentially into the more discounts of this range. Okay, so in order for me to look for shorts on XAU, I would like to see these M15 strong lows break to the downside, to then have a bit of an M15 pullback into supply, to then start looking for shorts and potentially target that 4-hour week low. Okay, because remember, our M15 always confirms our 4-hour. Our 4-hour confirms our daily. Our daily confirms the weekly, which confirms the monthly. Okay, so although we've had this M15 change of character with supply, we could potentially see a bit of a pullback into this area of supply, catering for a bit more of an M15 pullback. But understanding that shorts here is going to be M15 counter trend, simply because the M15 has not realigned itself yet with the overall 4-hour pro trend, which would be bearish. Okay. Thanks. You're welcome. Hopefully that gives you a good understanding of where I would personally look for shorts on gold is once the M15 realigns itself with the 4-hour. Okay, because looking for shorts right now, it could be valid. It could be just for a potential M15 pullback before we mitigate demand areas in control to then continue targeting those weak highs. Okay, as this is a valid M15 change of character to the downside. Okay, the only fact I don't like is that we haven't broken structure to the upside. There was no candle body closure, so therefore this really isn't a confirmation of any pullback. Cheers, Jay. Thanks for another stream. Got to head out. Thanks for joining, Jacques. Hope you got some good value. I will see you in the next stream. Alrighty, guys. Is there any further questions on any of the pairs that Hein or I have covered in stream today? Any questions on a potential trade plan that you have? Any ideas that you guys are looking at that you want me to take a look at for you? All happy with the markup and the breakdown of price. I will continue to update this as we go throughout the day. The markup will be posted inside of MM Funded. Just for a show of hands, who of you guys aren't from MM Funded here? I'm more than happy to give you guys a bit of a breakdown of what's inside of all of the course content inside, more or less what we do there. Can you please show us the GBP USD trade you are looking at? GU, what I would like to see is potentially, yeah, we've had a bit of that M15 pullback, that internal shift liquidity sweep. I wanted to see the Asian sweep at least into these areas of demand to continue long, to target those weak highs. Similarly to EU, so I've really been taking longs here all morning. We had +4 partials, +2 partials, -1, -1. So my next trade plan will only be to really look for longs if we sweep those Asian lows to take the Asian liquidity model. If you use MT5 accounts on your phone, they have a new feature where they calculate your SL and TP on screen. You just have to know what percentage of your account balance you want to risk. Yeah, that will be great, but I still prefer executing on the desktop version. So I only trade if I'm in front of my laptop or my desktop with my trade manager tool. And I find it also executes pretty much instantly. But yeah, if you're happy trading on your phone, there's nothing wrong with that. It's just personally what I prefer. All right, guys, is everybody here this morning mostly from MM Funded? Any new people on stream this morning? I am. Welcome, Luis, to the streams. If it's your first time here. Alrighty, guys, let's quickly get an update on the US30 that we covered. Yeah, we're really just continuing fractally bearish. Potential liquidity for these areas of supply to cater for a bit more of an M15 pullback. We still have our M15 strongs in alignment with the 4-hour and the daily. NASDAQ, which Hein broke down. I haven't marked up NASDAQ. I haven't traded NASDAQ for ages, but immediately I can see our M15 breaks, M15 strong lows, potentially due for a bit of an M15 pullback to then continue targeting those weak highs in alignment with the overall daily and 4-hour trend. And then GBP USD, yeah, very similar to EU. Okay, awesome stuff. Jay, You're welcome, James. I hope you got some good value from our streams and continue to get good value here. And I hope to see you in future streams as well. At Takir, also new. Welcome to the streams. Yeah, Hein and I will be live every single morning, 10:30 GMT +2. Just after London session starts, so that we can recap trade plans, potential plans that we can look to execute in price in those mornings, and also complete top-down analysis, giving you guys that clear understanding going into the day, the rest of the week, and even into the rest of the year. Alrighty, so for those of you that aren't inside of Funded, there is a link in the description of the stream to my Telegram group. It's a free group where I just post my daily markup, the trading view links, so you can get a good idea of what I'm looking at in the mornings, following through my markup, and I update that every single morning, mostly on EU and GU, and then XAUSD I'll update every couple of days or so. So that Telegram group will basically just really be a screenshot recap of the markup that we discussed in stream here. And then also I'll post the notification for when we're about to hop on stream on YouTube. Then also my Instagram is in the description below with Hein's Instagram. So again, please do, if you have any questions about markup, a trade plan that you're looking at, remain active with us. Send us a message on Instagram. And we'll help you out there. And ultimately, both of our Discord servers where our full methodology access is, and also the private live streams with Funded in the mornings, just before we hop on YouTube here. And ultimately, we also have all of the public trading floors there, the public streaming rooms, and then the core of Funded, which is our 3 structure types broken down into a chronological Section 1 to 7, Section 8 also just being added, which is the ICT bootcamp inside of Funded, which is also free on my YouTube channel. But alrighty guys, then I think we have covered more than enough pairs this morning, or the major pairs that Hein and I really look at. For those of you that are inside of Funded and HVDFX, we will continue to update our markup there. We'll also host the private Funded stream tomorrow morning. And then at 10:30, we'll be back here. Yesterday, when you covered ZAR, I could not listen with intent. Did I catch the gist of it correctly? The Rand is going to weaken over the next few years. As far as I know, in the next few years, I'd actually like to see the Rand create record highs, but I'll show you what we covered yesterday. Okay, so if I go all the way back to the monthly on USD ZAR, we have our monthly break to the upside, monthly strong lows, monthly weak highs, after the weekly has now shifted bearish, confirming the start of a bit of a monthly pullback before we continue bullish to potentially target those weak highs. Okay, so what I would like to see, and we are definitely due for a bit of a monthly pullback, potentially at least to 1670, 1680, 17 Rand, to then continue targeting the weak highs, where I would like to see the Rand, and this is possible, at least the next year or two, to be 20 Rand to the dollar. Okay, so if I come back then to the daily swing is just currently bearish, catering for the monthly pullback. Okay, weekly, strong highs, weekly weak lows. Weekly has shifted bearish because we are confirming the start of the monthly pullback. The daily has now shifted bearish in alignment with the weekly to, again, continue with the overall monthly pullback. So there is possibility, again, where price could reach 17 Rand 30, even a bit lower, before then realigning with the monthly to start creating those record highs. Okay, so I definitely see room for a bit of a pullback first, before creating those record highs. And again, we don't need to worry about predicting that. We can react to price as we get to these POIs. Okay, if we get a bit of a 4-hour pullback into these supplies, M15 realigns itself, we can then look for those shorts as we've got the confirmations in alignment with the higher time frame. And even then, let's say a trade plan of a short over here, we potentially first get stopped out, -1, we get a second entry, okay, and then we get that full runner. No matter what happens, once you understand the risk management aspect of percentage risk and risk to reward, that will always have your back for when your trade plans don't play out. Please upload some backtesting videos. There's quite a lot inside of the Discord server, but I'll definitely, consider making some for the YouTube channel as well. Cool, thanks so much. You're welcome. I hope that gives a bit of a breakdown just on USD ZAR on the higher timeframes. Then obviously within the lower timeframes, the M15, etc., we can confirm the continuation of the higher timeframe.